All right, what is up, YouTube? It is your boy. I'm finally back for another YouTube video, taking video back, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about my experience, my first year in ROTC. It's about ROTC and how it works, me explaining the benefits and why I joined. Right? I mentioned it in my last video, but like I said, I was gonna make a separate video on it. I'm gonna share some pictures and videos with you guys somewhere up there. But yeah, I get a lot of questions on how ROTC works. Not a lot of people understand the difference between junior ROTC and then regular ROTC and then the different branches and what they offer. All right, so like I mentioned in the last video, my one of my closest friends, he went to college. He went to a 4 year. I went to a community. He was like, bro, I heard you. He was like, bro, I know you want to go to the army. Um, or I know you want to go to the service. He was like, you could join ROTC at my school. I was like, I can do that. He was like, yeah, they allow your school, the school that you go to, they allow students from your school to do the program at my school. And so, long story short, I waited maybe like 2 months out of the summer. I was talking to the recruiter. He did my paperwork, got me in a program. It was around like August 27th or something like that. That was like the first day of PT. I went maybe like a week before PT and all of that. And we did like the whole equipment layout. Like I said, I'm gonna do a separate video on that equipment layout. Um, did the whole equipment layout, sized me up, gave me my sea bag, my ruck, boots, PT uniforms, basically issued me all of the uniforms that I need for throughout the semester. He gave me all of that stuff. And then I want to say like maybe a week later, that's when we started our first day of PT. Now, like our first day of PT it was kind of like a shock to the system. It was 5:50, I think, or I think it was at like 5:30. I think it was earlier than usual. In the morning. I get up, I get there, and it was ACFT. We did our ACFT to see where everybody was. It was a lot of people there. We had like maybe 30 people, maybe 40 people at most. We had a lot of people there. And so we get there, we do our ACFT, we meet all of our like upperclassmen, our MS4s. So our MS4s would be like your 4 year seniors, right? You might have a 5th year senior, so that'll be technically MS5s or MS4s, depending on the degree. And we meet our MS4s. Our MS4s, when you're an MS4 in ROTC, Army ROTC, I don't know how it is for other branches. When you're an MS4 for Army ROTC, you act as the second lieutenant, right? You act as the officer, right? Or some kind of first sergeant or sergeant major. Um, and when you're an MS3, the junior, you can be a junior or a sophomore as an MS3. Sometimes. Yeah. You can be junior or sophomore as an MS3. It depends. It just depends on your credits and it depends on your degree and where you're at. You pretty much act as the NCO. And when you're 1 and 2, you're just sitting back, you're learning, you know, learn everybody's names, learn about the Army. You're just sitting back and learning. That's pretty much what you're doing, your job. And when you get graded, you're not really getting graded for stuff. You're more so getting graded for just showing up and volunteering to do stuff, participation. You pretty much get graded for participation, the easiest thing you could ever get graded for. So then we also have a few priors. Priors will be like, okay, somebody left high school, somebody graduated high school, went into like the National Guard or Reserves, right? And then their unit commander was like, hey, look, well, here goes a good leadership opportunity for you. You can go ROTC, right? And so some of them was like, well, yeah, I can go ROTC. Mind you, ROTC allows you to be a 4 year college student. So you go to college 4 years, stay in the dorm, do your whole college, live your whole college experience, and do the Army stuff on the side. That's pretty much how it works. Like most of your Army stuff is just on the side. You're a full-time college student now, and you just focus more so on college. And when you got to go and do your drills and stuff, you'll go do that. Once I don't know how, I don't really know how that works. I'm gonna try to bring somebody from that's in the National Guard or in reserves. I'm gonna try to bring them on the channel so that they can explain how that works. Because I also want to know how that works as well. But they would do that. We have our chain of command, or we have a sergeant. We have a major, right? We have two majors, and they're both professors of military science. And so my major, she teaches the MS1s, and then the other major teaches, like, it's weird how it just depends on the program too, and who you would have for a professor of military science. But basically what we learned, like, as MS1s, the first year was customs and courtesies, land nav, how to wear the uniform, different history about the military, just little stuff like that, like the little stuff you need to know and the little stuff that you need to learn to become an officer and become a better officer. We also in class we go over like our lanes, like ambush, attack, um, just those different lanes. We also went over like medical stuff, um, how to prevent sexual harassment, um, suicide prevention. You go over stuff like that in your class. That would be your military science class, your MS class, right? That's what MS stands for. And then it just depends on whatever grade you're in. If you're a sophomore, MS2, junior, MS3, so on and so forth. But yeah, so the priors, they pretty much get like it's kind of like a double-edged sword when you're a prior. When you're a prior, some of the cadets, some of the students that come in as cadets, they kind of look at you like you still don't know anything, you know? And then again, some of them look at you like, you know, you should know it all, you know? And so, like we got a few, like I said, we got a few people that are in the program that are prior service. Some of them know land nav better than others. And then you got some cadets that know land nav better than the priors. Some of them have better customs and courtesies, um, you know? And so it's just kind of this whole thing about, you know, being prior service and then just coming in as a cadet. At, so we had our first day of PT, first lab. First lab was what was our first lab? I don't even remember. I have a picture. I think first lab was just us meeting up in uniform to make sure everybody had their uniform and was wearing their uniform, right? We didn't even have our name tags yet. We didn't get our name tags until after a while. Um, I think that's what our first lab was, though. Yeah, we met up in uniform to make sure everybody had everything they needed on their uniform. Then the second lab, we went over patrol base, how to set up a patrol base. Those of you that don't know what that means or what that is, yeah, y'all just have to look it up. I'm not explaining it. I know it's some combat tactic stuff. I know what it is, but I'm not explaining that in this video. Um, Set up a patrol base. I think that's pretty much what it was for first lab. That's what it was for our first lab. We also learned how to stand in formation. We got acquainted with our squad leaders because they give you squad leaders. They put you in these group chats, and then they kind of chop the group chats up and switch you around. It's pretty much what the first day of lab was. In your lab would be our lab. So our class, our military science class will be on Tuesday for MS1s. Our labs for everybody was on Thursday. And your lab is pretty much like, okay, for an example, we're going over ambush. That would be our lab, an ambush lab. So we'll get our rubber duckies, our plastic guns. They're not really plastic, they're plastic, but they're heavy. They're heavy and they act as real rifles. You get you used to carrying a real rifle. And we'll go somewhere and we'll practice an ambush. We'll set up an op four, you know, we'll set up a whole patrol, and then we'll have our leaders recon in the middle, have our PLs and our squad leaders do their thing. And that was pretty much what our labs was. Our labs was either some kind of combat tactical stuff or something small and technical like land nav. That's very important. When you get into the military or ROTC, you ever think about joining ROTC or the military, learn land nav before you ship off or your first day of lab. Because dude, I suck at land nav. And don't get me wrong, you're gonna have some people there that are gonna be studs. Like you're gonna have some kids there that's their parents did ROTC or they just did a lot of research before they came in. Me, I did research, but it was like the bare minimum. I didn't know what to look up or what to look for. Um, If you want to look up any information, go to army.com/ROTC. That pretty much give you the whole rundown of the program. And then of course you got like a fuck ton of um resources on like YouTube. YouTube is where to go. And you got my video. That there's a bunch of handbooks you're supposed to get as a cadet. We still haven't received yet, of course. Contracting. So how contracting works. I've explained that too in the last video. Contracting is like your way of enlisting as a cadet. So you got some cadets that come in as a freshman and they will receive the Army scholarship while they were in high school, going into college, right? So like let's say you're like a month out from graduation, 2 months out from graduation, I don't really know how it goes. You'll receive a scholarship from the United States Army. It'd be like 100,000, and that's to pay for your school. Some kids that go in, boom, ROTC, they got the scholarship, they're chilling, room and board. Now they just gotta wait to get contracted. Now, from what I was told, what I heard was, and I might be wrong, was it was a lot of cadets getting contracted their freshman year, their MS1 year. I was doing my paperwork to go to basic camp, and I was told they switched it to your MS2 year. So I would have to wait till next summer to get contracted. I'm already set to get contracted. I'm set to go to basic camp. I will go to basic camp, come back. I will have like a month or some change off before classes start, and then I get contracted. Now, basic camp, for those of you that don't know what basic camp is, this is how basic camp works. This is how basic camp works. Basic camp is like your basic training, is basically your basic training, but as a cadet. So you got basic camp and you got advanced camp. They break them down into two. When you go to basic training in the regular army, the big army, BCT, it's 2 months, just 2 months straight. Boom. Basic camp is like 32 days, 35 days, and you'll go down to Fort Knox. You'll do all your basic, your basic military stuff. I seen some of the I seen some of what they do. What they do is, I know it's customs and courtesies, drill and. I know one of them is the big thing is drill and ceremony. Uh, you're gonna go over your lanes, your patrol base. You're gonna sleep outside, all of that stuff. Know a little bit of what we'll be doing at basic camp. Mind you, I'm going this summer. Basic camp would be the summer going from your freshman year to your sophomore year. So your MS1 year to your MS2 year. It also allows you to skip up to an MS3 because you'll be learning a lot of stuff that'll make you high speed. Now, advanced camp, there's a lot of MS3s that I know that are going to advanced camp that will be MS4s next year. They are pretty excited. That's where everything counts. So as an MS4, like I said, you'll be acting as the lieutenant. In some programs, that's kind of how they treat their MS4s. Um, they'll be acting as a lieutenant. When you go to advanced camp, you'll pretty much be doing everything you did at basic camp times 10, and you'll have to get graded for it. Um, that's pretty much how I was. That's pretty much how they explained it to me, and some of the research that I did is just what I seen. And that's pretty much, basic camp and advanced camp. That's like your basic training as a cadet. Now, in between all of that and after that, in between it, you have, of course, your school. You want to make sure you keep a 2.5. You want to make sure you keep your scholarship and your contract. Your contract is it's like a double-edged sword. You get contracted in a scholarship. If you was to break your contract, like for some reason you was to flunk out of school, you would either have to pay that scholarship back or take the 8 years active duty. To pay to take your 8 years active duty, and that would be your way of repaying the Army. Um, we had a few people get kicked out of the program. Like I said, I remember the first day we had like 30 or 40 people, and I just kept like, it was like every week, every other week we were losing people. We were losing. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people at a time. We were losing the chunk of the program, and now we only got like not even. I wouldn't even say we maybe got like 15 cadets, 10 cadets, including our fours. And it's kind of a sad thing to see. So don't be that person to get kicked out when shit starts to get good. Now, also, like I said, another thing, we do 2 FTXs. We did FTX for our what was on our fall and then our spring. So we did a fall FTX and then a spring FTX. So you do 2 FTXs a year. We had 2 12-milers a year. Those are the events as MS1s. Those are the events you kind of want to take advantage of. You kind of want to get better at, especially the FTX. You want to pay attention to how they run lanes, right? How they conduct the land nav, how the MS3s are conducting the land nav, because MS3s are getting graded on this stuff and being PL. The second FTX is always the serious one. For us, it was Ohio State, and then it was Ohio University. We had paintball guns. And so when we did our lanes, like our ambush and our attack and all of that, we were shooting at each other. Like we had an op 4, we were shooting at op 4. And so it was like, it was real. Like we were up climbing up mountains. We had our rucks with us. It was a real combat scenario. So me as an MS1, seeing how, some MS3s can struggle with that and how some MS4s still struggle with it. My whole goal and my thing for y'all is try and find some of the right resources to study. That way, this stuff now, YouTube videos. Yeah, there's a bunch of YouTube videos, books. Try to find the right resources to study now. That when you get to that point, you have a better understanding, because you'll never really know everything, but you'll know enough to get you through, if that makes sense. Um, Also, another thing, if you don't know how to talk to people, you need to learn how to talk to people. Get your stress levels like taken care of. Make sure you take care of your health. Me, I have a bad leg, and so one bad leg is causing my other leg to hurt. And I really have not had good PT scores at all. I have one more ACFT, and that's next week. I have one more ACFT, that's next week, and this is the ACFT that matters, and it matters for everybody, because our MS4s, they're going to graduate, they're going to go to Bullock. When they go to Bullock, those ACFT scores follow them to Bullock. The threes are going to advance. Those ATFT scores follow them to advance. And then me, I'm the only one that's going to basic, that's going to follow me to basic. And it might not matter for me, but then again, it might. So I want to try to get the best score possible. Some of the events, you want to be good at your push-ups. You want to be great at your planks. You want to do a plank. The plank needs to be longer than 1:30, I think, to pass. Push-ups, you need for men, I think it's like 30 or 40 push-ups to pass. The 2-mile run, under 20 minutes for men. Under 20 minutes. So I would say like try to get it under 19 minutes. Your whole goal is to try to get under 19. I always make it like 21 minutes. For Christmas break, I actually passed for the first time. Like I said, I got bad legs, man. I got a bad knee. All those sports I was playing in high school. Gotta learn to push. I had to find a way to push through this shit. And like I said, it gets very unmotivating at times, because not a lot of people really understand how serious it is, like how serious and how much pain I be in. But that's another story for another time. Just take care of yourself. If you got to go to the doctors, if you got to sit out some of the stuff, sit out. As MS1s, you kind of get leeway to do that, kind of sit out. You low key do. Like your 3s and 4s, they're going to give you shit about it. Like, oh, he sat out the rug and he did this and he did that. And like your cadres, I'm not going to say your cadres are not going to care, but they're going to be more like, okay, he's an MS1, he's not contracted. But as your MS2 year and then you get contracted and they're trusting you with this contract, then it's like, bro, it doesn't even matter if your kneecap's missing. You got
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
to show up like, hey, look, my kneecap is gone, I can't run.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap.
Then they're gonna send you home to excuse you, shit like that. And they're pretty much training you for how shit's gonna be in the big army. This also goes back to learning how to talk to people, right? Learning how to communicate face to face and actually making sense, right? Make sure you communicate everything with your squad leader as well. So you never really go to chain of command. You always go to your highest ranking cadet, which will be your MS4s. They will go to chain of command. So you'll get a doctor's excuse. You will send that to your squad leader. They either will send it up or you could just send it up yourself, right? But you never go to your major or like your sergeant. You never go to them. They will, because there's always a dedicated MS4 that's going to go to them. Not all MS4s are going to them neither. Another thing I had the opportunity to sit in on and think, and I want to just thank my one of the upperclassmen. He always picks me up, make sure I'm where I need to be on time. Is what is it? Tactical lab? What is not tactical lab? It's a meeting, and basically the meetings, I forget exactly what they call it. How the hell? But it's basically a meeting where they meet up and they talk about everything that's going to happen for the rest of the year. So all the events, right? Who's going to go where? Who's going to be in what team? Who eats what? They basically do that stuff months ahead of time, and then they go over and over and over it every week, every other week to make sure everybody's on track and understands. As an MS1, we don't have to sit in on that type of stuff, but they suggest we do. And lately, I've sat in on one or two meetings, and I'm glad I did because I get a better understanding of how they're putting stuff together and how their way of thinking works. Because pretty much like as an MS4, like I said, you're acting as a lieutenant. So all the planning, everything that y'all do comes from the MS4. So when you're planning PT, it's coming from the MS4. You send all your plans up to chain of command. They're going to look over it and then they have to approve it. If it's bullshit, they're going to say it's bullshit, right? If it's good, then they're going to say, okay, it's good. We'll clear it. Let's go. Boom. Right. And so one of the MS4s, he has great PT plans. I was telling some of the ones, I said, hey, I'm going to have to use, I might steal his PT plans just because they're real organized, and it makes sense. It's all ACFT prep. Everything that he's done since the moment he took over making PT plans has been ACFT prep. So it's been to prep you to pass your ACFT, and it's great PT, great running, push-ups, we get sprints, right? Kettlebell swings, we get some weightlifting in, some stretching. It's ACFT prep, but it's to prep you to pass the ACFT. When you take your ACFT, after that, you're supposed to do height and weight like right after. We usually get the height and weight like a day or two after. And then when you're contracted, this is something that a lot of people that I watch, a lot of people fuck up on and fail. And this is how they got dropped. They had a scholarship and a contract. They drug test you. When we got a new chain of command last year, we had a different chain of command. I didn't really know him because I went in the program last year. This chain of command kind of threw everybody for a loop. He just randomly was like, hey, we're going to drug test everybody. And in reality, that's the Army. That's literally what will happen to you in the Army. And it's like, first off, if you're doing drugs in the Army, why are you doing drugs in the Army? Or if you're doing drugs, why are you in the Army? You see what I'm saying? So
What?
don't put yourself in those situations. Be an adult, right? You're in the Army, you sign this contract, you're owned by the government. Don't go fucking smoke a bunch of weed like a dumbass. I get, yeah, you might get drunk. That's a different story. Don't smoke a bunch of weed. Don't be a fucking stupid dumbass, because then you might get drug tested and it might be every day. He might say, hey, I want to drug test you fuckers once a week. It might be some shit like that. And so I watched a couple of cadets freak the fuck out from drug tests, and a couple of them failed. Well, that's what it is. You know this is what you signed up for. You got to get rid of bad habits, man. You got to get rid of those kind of habits. That was one thing. What else? Leadership, planning, ACFT. Like I said, your push-ups, your squats. Learn how to talk to people. That's very, very important. You got to learn how to communicate without yelling. It's basically just showing bad leadership. You don't want to be a bad leader, because then you start off as a bad leader and you get into the big Army. It just follows you to the big Army. And the big Army is different. You're not dealing with college students anymore. You're actually dealing with a variety of adults. So you'll get around sergeants or first sergeants, sergeant majors. Some of these motherfuckers been in since before you was born.
Stop the cap.
more. So you don't want to get around these motherfuckers and they look at you like, I would chew this motherfucker alive. Yeah, you might be a lieutenant that gotta salute you and respect you and shit, but that's how some people think. It's like being in the jungle, man. Like you get around the different adults. A lot of these motherfuckers been in, like I said, since before you were born. So they got more experience over you. So at the end of the day, yeah, you're a higher rank, but you're going there and learning from them. One thing I had to learn too as an MS1, and I'm still learning and I'm still practicing, is just shut the fuck up and listen. Just sit back and watch. Ask a bunch of questions and just watch. You're gonna have that one MS4 that's gonna do everything right. One thing wrong, but everything else right. You're gonna have that one MS4 that just does everything else wrong. You're gonna have that one MS4 that's fucking great at talking. The one MS4 that fucking sucks at talking, right? Find the MS4 that does everything right and follow that MS4. You know, it's very important. Being a leader, you at any moment you can be called. You can be called to step up to be a leader at any moment. You can be called to step up to be a leader at any moment. You have to know and learn how to be a very good communicator. It's very, very, very important. Very important. That's one thing I learned about my program. There's some individuals that aren't really good at communicating. They can communicate, they can get the job done, but they're not comfortable with it. They're not like, okay, hey y'all, let's just do this and let's do that. They're not really comfortable with it. They're not like the MS4s. The MS4s can sit and talk and explain shit all day where it makes sense. That's because they've had experience doing it. You want to get yourself to that point. Because when you get to the big army, if you can't explain shit, motherfuckers can die and get killed, be confused. Now you're looking like a shit bag. So another thing you get graded on is a 3 and a 4. Your mentoring skills. Make sure y'all watch what y'all say. For the ones out there that say the N word a lot, the B word, anything crazy, watch what you say. The army will change you. It will change you. Not just the army in general, but college too. It will change you as a person. It makes you a better person in a way. You just have to allow it to, you know. Like I said, you got to follow instructions, be around the right people that are doing the right things when no one is looking, and you'll get it right. Everything will work out in your favor. If you do everything right, everything will work. Everything will work out. Just got to do everything right, the small stuff right. We also had a swim qualification. If you can't swim, learn how to swim. You need to learn how to swim. It was like 3 events. Yeah, you need to learn how to fucking swim. We swam with all our uniform on. I didn't even get no videos of that for real. I should have got a couple videos. But yeah, our swim qualification was, I can't swim for shit. So it was pretty nerve wracking. I just did the test. Trust my MS4s. They were gonna save me if I drowned, which they did. And just said fuck it, face my fears. It's pretty much what all this is facing your fears. We also had the opportunity to do an aviation lab. That was fun. We flew in helicopters around the city. It was like 30 minutes each. That was awesome. We did a marathon. That was a couple days ago, where we basically like ran the marathon. We didn't run. We actually like coordinated it. That was fun. What else? Color guard, OML. Make sure you ask your MS4s about OML points and basically understanding how OML points work. I think I've explained that in my last video, but OML points is like your cadet. It's like points going towards your cadet rank. So the higher you are as a cadet, like the higher rank is as a cadet, when you get ready to commission and graduate and pick your job, you get 3 jobs and you're going to get most preferred for one. And you usually get most preferred for the job that has like your degree has to match. So like for example, mine is business management, background in finance probably be most preferred, or like fucking human resources or some shit. That would be like most preferred for me, you know. Or sometimes a lot of guys want to go infantry. You might not get infantry, right? And if you do get infantry, you might get infantry in the reserves. You might not go active, or you might get the guard. Make sure you know what you want to branch, right? And why you want to branch that. Make sure you know just about any and everything about that branch, and make sure you get as much OMO points as possible. I also got OML points from going to Ranger Challenge. That was pretty fun. We did a bunch of Army Ranger stuff down at Fort Knox for like a night. I got a few OML points from doing some color guard events. Make sure you guys do color guard. If depending on the school you go to, the program, color guard is probably one of the easiest, depending on the school and program. Ours was small, so it's like a 4-man, 2 flags, 2 rifles. If you go to one of those big schools like Ohio State, Clemson, uh, you most likely got to try out for the color guard team. But yeah, those are easy OMO points for us. Pretty cool events. I got to do veterans. What did we do? It was the military. No, we didn't do the military ball. JROTC did the military ball. Junior ROTC, that's high school ROTC. That's a little bit different from college. We did the damn, what did we do? We did a football game. It was a big football game for us to turn around and lose. We did one of those. We did the Blue Jackets game down at the stadium at the Nationwide Arena. We did that. What else? We did the homecoming game. Yep, we did the football homecoming game. Like it's a bunch of events that you can do. Or yeah, pretty much. But other than that, I would just say, as a college student, try to get in as many events as possible. Try to join a fraternity or sorority, student council, student government, whatever the hell they got offer you. Try to get in as much stuff as possible. Make sure you pick the right degree, like a medical, something that's going to transfer into the military, and then when you get out, something that's going to transfer you out. Know what you want. Know what you want in life. Make sure you go in shape. Do your push-ups, your sit-ups, your squats, and your 2-mile run before you go in. I'm telling you, because it'll work out in your favor. Make sure you understand that when you're greeting your chain of command, it is yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir, ma'am. Make sure you understand that, because a lot of people go and they will talk to our majors like they're fucking one of their friends, and it looks fucking embarrassing. It's fucking cringe. Make sure you guys get used to asking a lot of questions. Get you like a notebook like this, right? Get you like the waterproof, the actual military ones, or try and get you something like this, but like a field book to take notes. Like I took all my notes in this one. I got another notebook somewhere and I lost it. So like the labs, this was like this was from our last lab last week. But make sure you're taking notes. Make sure you learn land nav, right? So like your terrain features, you learn how to shoot an azimuth, you know how to mark a map. I wish I would have learned and started practicing some of that stuff before I started the program, just that way everything could go smoother. I think that's the only thing I'm missing. And then I'm of course learning everything else, like the soldier's creed, warrior ethos, that stuff. But really just laying that for right now. Like I said, as an MS4, you're pretty much laid back and chill. You're more so just sitting in the cut and watching shit, watching what to do and what not to do, what to say and what not to say. As an MS2, then it's more like, okay, what do you know now? As a 3, it's like, all right, you gotta know this shit. What the fuck? Like, what's up? And then as a 3, you gotta know this shit. And as a 4, it's like, okay, you should be the expert, right? You're the guy to go to. Also know your basic medical procedures like CPR, how to apply a tourniquet, that type of shit, just in case anything crazy goes wrong. What else? Be ready to ruck. So we do a lot of rucking as a battalion. We do a lot of rucking. We do like 4-mile rucks, 3-mile rucks, 6-mile rucks, and that's leading up to the 12-mile ruck. And rucking is very important. You should be able to ruck with 35 to 40 pounds, sometimes 25 to 30 pounds in your ruck. You should be able to ruck with that much. Be ready to ruck. Also, make sure you invest in good boots, because the boots that they're going to issue you, depending on the program, those standard issue, they're not good boots at all to wear to climb mountains, run, hell, to even do land nav. They're not. They hurt. and it will make your life like a living hell, especially sleeping out in the woods when you're outside during FTX. They're just terrible, terrible boots to wear. They will protect your feet, but they will destroy your feet and say at the same time. So make sure you invest in some good boots like Garmont, Belleville, hell Nike. Make sure you get some good boots. Make sure you wear good socks. Make sure you fucking work on your fucking hygiene because don't nobody want to smell you fucking stinky motherfuckers. But other than that, if you guys have any more questions, I'm definitely gonna do a part two. There might be separate parts to this because I don't feel like I touched on everything. I know I touched on some of the basics, and that was just pretty much like how I said how my first year ROTC went, college ROTC went. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, make sure you guys drop them down in the comments below. Make sure you guys hit me on Instagram. The link will be somewhere in the description. Um, Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications. And yeah, like I said, we getting back active. We're gonna start doing videos like this, and we're gonna start easing into vlogs soon. I'm trying to set it up where I can start vlogging, at least try to vlog my second year at RTC. We're gonna do some lifetime vlogs, lifestyle vlogs. We're gonna do some gym vlogs. I'm gonna get some gym content pretty soon. I'm gonna start bringing some people on the channel. I'm pretty much gonna try to make the channel like a just an all around channel, entertain you motherfuckers. Um, I also want to get into gaming a little bit, start streaming me playing the game and shit. I just got a new game system. But other than that, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Like I said, turn on post notifications and stay tuned for more.